Here we are, another edition of the Doubleheader with Mark Shields, David Brooks, myself, Harry Srinivasan, where we talk about the sport of politics and the politics of sport in the sport of politics section. So the parties had their retreats this last week. We had the Republicans off somewhere. I don't know if it was Virginia or West Virginia.
They were in
Williamsburg,
Virginia.
and the Democrats were elsewhere. What comes out of this? What actually happens? Is this the messaging for the year? Is this how we attack the other guy, or is this actually where they lay out some sort of an idea of who they are and what they want to be?
It's like a Socratic dialogue on this nature of justice and truth.
Nicely done.
They usually get some outside people, right? They get Frank Luntz and Bill Kristol and people like that come into the Republicans and tell them how screwed they are. And then I guess in the Republican one, it was mostly members of the House, going up to the microphone with their idea of how to handle the fiscal cliff. Okay. I guess what was disappointing to me, it was all tactics. So it's not
it's not substantive. It's more strategic.
It's like any corporate retreat. Yeah, but I think it's more tactical than it should be.
Okay.
But it's also personal. I mean, these people do not know each other. They literally don't know each other. I mean, even if they're in the same party. I mean, there's a lot of newcomers, but it's just a chance to sit and as well to meet people and know them on a first-name basis, to find out that, David, in spite of the fact that he's a right-wing ideologue, I mean, really is a person with a family and he cares about the country. I mean, there's a lot of that going on, and I think that's all for the good. I've been to a couple of them as an observer. And,
Do they have people on
I think they work. I remember Barney Frank astounded the assembled Democrats, this is going to be 25 years ago, by dancing with a male partner.
Wow. At a retreat. They got to know Barney Frank.
At a retreat. They did.
This was not a classic retreat, though. This was something called the Civility Retreat, which was at the Greenbrier Hotel, which was bipartisan.
David Skaggs.
And
Ray LaHood.
I think the Annenberg Foundation funded it.
Yep.
And they had karaoke night. The idea was to get them to actually get to know each other. My 170 drunk members of Congress. My son doing karaoke to New York with the New York delegation. I have very fond memories of that. But it was the same sort of deal. It was high school. It was junior high, where all the Republicans are sitting over here, all the Democrats sitting over there. Right. There's very little intermingling.
Icebreakers.
Yeah, but that's what this is. And I think in the Republicans' case, it was a retreat, literally.
Okay.
Because things hadn't been going well.
Yeah.
And they felt the need to do it. And I think probably for John Boehner to try and solidify shaky leadership.
Okay, and the politics of sports segment, we got plenty to discuss, but I think we will take some pleasure in talking about Manti TeO and whether or not this was a giant hoax perpetrated on him by a fictitious online girlfriend that he allegedly had for 1, maybe 3 years, who knows. We believe we have an expert among us, a Notre Dame alum, one Mark Shields.
I do not know. I mean, I'll say the words that are rare, alien to most people in Washington at any time. I do not know. I am as mystified by it as anybody. I mean, any question that certainly by the 26th of December, he knew, his parents knew, and Notre Dame knew, and so anything that was said afterwards that furthered this hoax or whatever, there's culpability and there's responsibility. But I don't know what happened before.
What are you hearing from your Notre Dame sources?
I've heard nothing but speculation, some of it idle, some of it creative, and none of it worth repeating.
Okay.
He takes the high road.
Oh, my God. I didn't expect that from Mark Shields.
No, I think it's a tribute to Notre Dame's commitment to platonic relationships. The sort of, the skepticism. Yeah. No, I don't know what to make of it. I mean, we have our guesses.
Right.
For people of our age, frankly, we're just not used to online relationships being that emotional.
Right.
It's like a foreign country.
Yeah.
So
we'll get you guys passports
to today, the 21st century, please. Thank you.
What I really need is an online relationship.
But we all had. Listen, I went to Chicago. All we had were make-believe friends, so it was normal.
Okay, and last night and tonight is the Lance Armstrong's Mea Culpa on Oprah. 4.5 million people watched. Probably the most impressive thing on the Oprah network ever yet so far. I mean, I didn't even know where to find that channel until last night. But an hour and a half. I've been a fan of cycling. It was like watching the mind of a pathological person being on display. Did you guys see any parts of it, or did you see any clips? Or what did you think?
Well, I just saw clips, so I somebody was watching Piers Morgan while he was talking about what he was watching on TV. It was great television on CNN. They were talking about what's happening on another channel.
Yeah. They were live blogging it on video.
On video.
Were they?
Vlogging, so to speak.
Oh, vlogging.
And so,
vlogging the flogging.
What it made me appreciate Chuck Colson, which is he did something wrong.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
And he understood how serious it was. And so he took it in, really lived it, and devoted his life to repairing, not in a direct sense, but in a larger sense, I'm going to do something good for the world, and it's not going to be about me. And that's not what we saw from Lance Armstrong.
I could not agree with David more. I mean, as a Catholic, we have the sacrament of confession, and confession doesn't mean anything without contrition and without penance.
Do you think there was contrition there?
I saw, from the clips I saw, there was an absence of contrition.
Yeah.
I mean, he was talking about it like he was analyzing the acts of somebody else that he'd read about.
Yeah.
And as far as penance is concerned, I mean, I see no willingness on his part. I mean, the one thing he could do, not unlike Chuck Colson, who devoted himself and his energy and talents to the prison ministry for those who were behind bars, was, this is a guy that probably knows more about doping than anybody.
Sure.
And I mean, he could provide, I would strike me as a very useful service, but in trying to clean up sports and to drive that, what I think is a scourge from sports. The other thing about it, that guy, I mean, this is a terrible bully. This is somebody who intimidated people. I mean, little people who dared to speak the truth about what was going on. I mean, the deep pockets litigation, I'll take you to court, I'll take every dime you're worth. I mean, this is really not an appealing person.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird thing, but really the best thing he had going for him was the fact that he was a cancer survivor and that people found him to be human there. But I mean, the kind of stuff that we've seen in the last few months that have actually the last couple of years that have come out from his detractors has really painted a horrible picture of the man.
I said the bullying began with the cancer?
Yeah.
I mean, boy, that struck me as a rationalization. It really did.
Right.
It's not since Newt Gingrich committed adultery because of his love of country.
That's right. That was my favorite moment of the 2012 campaign. Sometimes, because I loved America so much, I worked hard, and things happened. Anytime you get in the passive structure, grammatically, things happened,
All right, on that note, things happen like this double header ended. So thank you so much for watching. For Mark Shields, David Brooks, I'm Hari Srinivasan. Stay with us.